Let me get this clear, cause I had no idea.
Hello. So today we are going to discuss one problem called as the merge interval problems. This question has been asked in Microsoft most recently, and the problem statement is pretty straightforward. And why I picked up this question is I wanted to tell how actually to think when some problem is given and how to basically approach from very basics. So the problem statement is pretty straightforward. You'll be given some intervals like this. By interval, I means it is going to have some starting point as well as some ending point, and you need to combine them into one. So combine them into one means what? So suppose if you see this 2 comma 6, this 2 comma 6 in this 2 is basically falling within the first interval. So you can see that 2 is basically between 1 comma 3. So if there is something kind of this overlapping thing, then you need to combine them into one. So you can clearly see that this 1 comma 3 comma 2 comma 6 would eventually be combined into 1 comma 6. And if you see here 8 comma 10 and 15 comma 18, there is no overlap is there. So in that case we'll not combine them, and the output which we are going to get would be something like this. Similarly, if you see the other example here, if you see here 1 comma 4 and 4 comma 5, in this this 4 is basically overlapping with the first interval, because this 4 is basically at the same position where the previous one is ending. So you can assume that there are some workers or something. There are some workers who is like working from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., and the other group of workers are also starting their work from 4 p.m. So there is a kind of an overlap in the time between them. So we will have to combine them into one to get our work done. So this question can be asked in so many other forms as well. But if we know just the basic intuition to solve this problem, then any kind of a problem statement is given, we can easily get to an idea that this can be solved like this. So how exactly I thought about this problem is something like this. So I assume that suppose these are the intervals which are there. So like this, if you see 1 comma 3 2 comma 6, I just put all of them like this: 1 3 2 6 8 10 and so on. So like what I thought is I basically assumed that this is going to be an increasing number line there. So it's a number line which is basically starting from let's say 0 or something, some positive number, and it has to go towards the right with the increasing number. So now what, like how I started is and thought, if you see this interval which is 2 comma 6, now you can see that this 2 has to come before this 3. It means this 2 is overlapping with the previous interval. So why I'm not comparing this 2 with the 1? Because I have to, like if I compare with the end part, then the previous part is already covered, right? So I just compared this 2 with the previous interval ending, and I got to know that yeah, this interval 2 comma 6 is basically a problem because of this this number line is being disturbed. So we thought, okay, this these two intervals, which is 1 comma 3 and 2 comma 6, should be combined, right? Yeah. So in that case, okay, I thought, okay, we don't need this. Similarly, we will not need this. And then we clearly understood that yes, this is going to be the one interval. So now our new interval is 1 to 6, 8 to 10, and 15 to 18. Now if you pick up this interval which is 8 comma 10, now you can also see that this 8 is not interfering with the previous one, right? Or so it means that this is a non overlapping with the previous one. So it means that these two intervals are fixed. Maybe this interval overlap with this one, but these two, which is 1 comma 6 and 8 comma 10, are not overlapping in any sense, right? So now we moved on to the last interval. In that we saw that 15 and 10, so this is also not overlapping. So it means that we don't have to also combine the last two intervals in the sense. So that's how I thought about this problem. So only thing is we just need to sort all the intervals on the basis of their starting point, and then just find whether they are overlapping or not. If they are overlapping, you need to combine them, else it's fine, you don't have to do anything, right? So I just now go through one more time like how exactly I'm going to write up the code. So if you see, suppose we have interval like this, and we will have the other interval from 2 to 6. The other interval which I'm having is from 8 to 10. So other interval is basically 15 to 18. And now how I'm going to do is I'm going to maintain this. Suppose this is going to my answer. Okay. Now answer, like we are maintaining one index of answer. Suppose this is an index of answer. This is the index of answer. Initially it should be 0 0. So we started from these points. Like first we sort all of those intervals on the basis of the starting point. So since this is sorted, now I started from these and I checked, okay, is this 2 lesser than equal to this previous one ending? Yes. It means we need to combine them. By combining I means just nothing but this 3 and 6 maximum I have to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this. So this is going to be combined like this one. Okay. Now, so this index is index of answer is the answer of this one, right? So now I checked, okay, is this 8 is falling within this 6? No. No means now it is fixed that our first interval is fixed, which is basically nothing but this 1 comma 6. So this is fixed, right? We don't have to do anything about it. So now our index is incremented by 1. So now there is no point even to even check this 1 comma 6 because it is done now, right? So now we'll check this 8 comma 10 with 15 comma 18. So we also see that there is no overlapping in this case. So in that case also we'll say, okay, we just have to directly put this 8 comma 10, and then this index is going to be incremented by 2. Now we don't need to do anything on this. So we can see here that there is just one interval is left. So we will just put them uh, here, which is basically 15 comma 18, and that's it. So basically so we are putting this answer, I mean we are not using any other extra space, we are just putting all of those answers into the given vector itself. So it means that definitely its size was initially, if you see, there are 4 intervals was there. So now our answer is 3. So it means that whatever is going to be the other intervals left, we just need to remove that. So we will finally remove the whatever is going to be the reductant based upon this index value. So at last this index value would be 3. So it means that we just need to remove like we just need to keep these 3 intervals and remove all others which are not required now, and we are done. So that's how we are exactly going to write up the code. So I think you understood the logic, right? Now writing code is like super simple. Let's try to write it in a very fast way. So initially I'm going to find the interval size, and then we will check, okay, if this n is lesser than equal to 1, in that case we don't need to do anything, we will just return this intervals, and otherwise we will just sort this intervals from begin to the we'll just sort this interval, and then we will maintain one point like some index, and then we'll just go through from 1 to the n intervals, and then we'll just check, okay, if this intervals I 0, if this is lesser than equal to the index of 1, it means if there is a condition of overlap, then in that case, as we discussed, it should be the final index final should be the maximum of both of them. So it should be the maximum of both of them. So which means that we'll say, okay, this this intervals, if that is not an overlapping condition, in that case we just need to first of all increment this index, and then we need to just put that interval which is coming So we will just put that interval which is at the ith location and we are done. And finally, we just, as we discussed, whatever is going to be the reductant intervals, we just need to erase them. So from, we'll say, okay, from begin plus index plus 1, because index is the last point where our useful information is there. So from index plus 1 to interval start uh, begin plus n, or maybe end we can simply use. So we just need to remove all of them, and then we need to return the intervals and we are done. So logic wise it is the thing. Let's try to check. Yeah, so let's try to submit and get our finger crossed. Yeah, it's working. So I think the idea is pretty straightforward, and also told you how exactly you have to approach this problem. If you have any queries or something to ask, you can put them into the comment box, and I'll try to answer it if I have any idea about it. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.